LMBoots. In July 1906, Don Francisco Rivas created La Mundial Boots in Quito, Ecuador, what is now LMBoots. In 1935, his son, Roberto Rivas I, joined in the manufacturing. Roberto's daughter, Sonia Rivas, has been in the business since 1968. In 1992, Roberto Rivas II also joined the company. Since July 2017, and for the first time in 112 years, 3 generations of the Rivas family are working together to continue this tradition. Sonia, Roberto, Alejandra, and Isabel Rivas have been working together since July 2017. LMBoots. Instructions on how to measure. Follow these instructions carefully to ensure that your customer will have the perfect fit. Customer preparation. Position. You can only measure the correct height of the boot when the back of the customer's knee is bent at a 100-degree angle or greater. The best way to get the right angle is to use the LMBoots wooden box. Tracing each foot. The main reason to trace the feet is to accurately visualize the shape of each foot and to know if there's any unique details for the customer. Use a big brand ballpoint pen or similar to trace it. Tracing the length of each foot. Your pen must be in a vertical position while tracing the foot. Use the following letters to mark: A, the longest toe; B, the most pronounced part of the heel; C, the ball of the foot on the inside of the foot; D, the widest part of the outside of the foot. Trace all points with only one solid line of your pen. The stitch measurement tape. To measure, we use a shoemaker measurement, which we call the stitch measuring tape. It has 90 numbers on it. From now on, we will refer to the measuring tape as stitch and the measuring numbers as stitches. 4 measuring tapes. You will receive 2 pairs of stitch tapes for a total of 4 measuring tapes, so that you will be able to measure both legs at the same time. 2 stitch tapes are used to measure the width. They have long velcro on the back of the tape to hold the stitch. 2 stitch tapes for the height. They are only used to measure the height of the leg. Filling out the information sheet. The graph shows where all the customer's measurements must be written down in order to avoid confusion. The information about the customer's right side is deliberately placed on the left side of the sheet and vice versa, so as to match the positioning of the customer's feet. Foot measurements. Ball of the foot. The stitch tape should be in the same place you mark C and D. The tape must always be straight, never diagonal. Write the measurements in the toes, dedos section. Instep. To find the instep, we need to locate the arc of the foot. This is the place under the middle of the foot, where we can easily slide the stitch tape. Tighten the tape in a diagonal line towards the middle of the bone, on the top of the foot. The instep should always be greater than the width of the toes, but never more than 5 stitches. Write the measurements in the instep and peine section. Entrance. Place the stitch on the back of the customer's heel, right where it meets the ground, so that the heel holds it steady, and diagonally extend it to the front of the ankle. Make sure that the stitch is just on the edge of the heel, not under the foot. Write the measurements in the entrance, entrada section. Ankle. Measure just above the ankle bone. Find the narrowest area and measure with the stitch tape. Write the measurements in the ankle, tobillo section. Leg measurements. Width number 1. Top of the leg. Before measuring the height of the leg, you should measure the width right below the knee, around the leg. It is important that the upper leg be kept at a 100-degree angle. The measuring tape needs to be straight. Measure both legs and write this down as width number 1, ancho 1. The widths must be written down on the outside. Follow letter W on the form. Height of the boot. Next, we measure the height of the boot. Keep in mind that LMBoots has already calculated 5 stitches to drop. That is why the top of your stitch tape measure comes folded over. Remember that the customer's upper leg must be at a 100-degree angle or greater. Place the elastic leg band with Velcro around the leg, right below the knee. The stitch is to be placed on the inside of the leg so that the stitch 5 is the first number you should see. Then stitch 6 below it, and so on. Hold the stitch together with the elastic leg band with Velcro at the ankle. This is to allow the tape measurement to stay still even if the customer moves. Do the same in both legs. The last number that you see when the tape touches the floor is the height of the boot. The height must be written down on the center of the measurement box. Look for letter H. The height stitch tape will help us find where to locate the next set of measurements. Width number 2, at stitch 10. Find stitch number 10. In the height tape, cover the number 10 with stitch and measure in a straight line. This is width number 2. This measurement should always be larger than width 1. Measure both legs and write this down as width number 2, ancho 2. Width number 3, at stitch 20. Find stitch number 20 on the height tape. Cover the number 20 with stitch and measure in a straight line. This is width number 3. Normally this is the widest leg measurement. Measure both legs and write this down as width number 3, ancho 3. Width number 4 at stitch 30. Find stitch number 30 on the height tape. Cover the number 30 with stitch and measure in a straight line. This is width number 4. Measure both legs and write this down as width number 4, ancho 4. Width number 5 at stitch 40. As before, find stitch number 40 on the height tape. Cover the number 40 with stitch and measure on a straight line. This is width number 5. Measure both legs and write this down as width 5, ancho 5. Width number 6 at stitch 50. Depending on the length of the leg, repeat the same process at height number 50. Measuring foot size. The reed stick ruler. In order to accurately measure the foot length, we use the wooden reed stick ruler. The reed stick uses standard USA shoe sizes. LMBoots measures all customers, whether male or female, with children's men's length shoe size measurements to eliminate any possible confusion. Measuring foot length. Ask the customer to stand up and put the right foot on the length of the reed stick. The heel should touch the fixed or static section of the measuring device, while the longest toe should touch the adjustable part. Once the measurement of the right foot is taken, take the left foot's measurement, compare the two, and then write down the measurements in the size box on the order form. Measuring the foot width. On the side of the reed stick, where the heel rests, you will see 28 small numbers in a box. These numbers are used to measure the foot's width. Place the reed stick horizontally under the widest part of the customer's foot. The fixed or static side of the measuring device will be on the inside of the foot. The adjustable side of the measuring device will be on the outside of the foot. Once you have measured one foot, write it down underneath the foot length in the width box. take the measurement of the other and compare it to the first foot. Measure the heel the same way you measured the foot width. Write down the measures on the heel box. You have now finished taking all measurements. Important: the customer's upper leg needs to be at a 100-degree angle or greater. You must always measure both legs and feet to compare the measurements of the right and left. When you are measuring, write down only full or half sizes. If you have a difference of 1 stitch number or greater, please remeasure your customer at the measurement point on both legs. After remeasuring, if the difference persists, please put a check mark on the different measurement. We have taken into consideration the fact that the drop that the boots will make is about 5 stitches. So we have automatically added that by folding the measuring tape 5 stitches. Upon comparing the right and left foot measurements, it is possible to have differences. Using the same criteria, if there are differences, measure again and place a check mark if the differences persist. If the customer has more than 1/2 number of difference, it is important to write down this information on the measuring sheet. Thank you for being a part of the LMBoots family.